All right, I like that. My name is Erica Blackwell. I'm the Chief Communications Officer for the City of Gary. It's such an honor to have you here and to invite our very special guest, the Notre Dame School of Architecture. So today I'm just going to give you a little bit of information. We're going to go through some remarks from our Corporation Counsel, Carla Morgan, Marianne Cusato from Notre Dame School of Architecture, the Mayor, Eddie Melton, of course, and we ask that you hold all questions until the end of the press conference, all right? Also, we ask that, there's a lot of issues going on right now, but we ask that you reserve the questions to things that are related to the Notre Dame plan that we're presenting today. So without further ado, thank you very much. I would like to introduce our Corporation Counsel, Carla Morgan, to kick off this press conference.
Thank you, Erica. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to explain how we got here and how this partnership formed. So I'm a Domer. I'm a proud graduate of Notre Dame, and also a proud member of not just this administration, but of Mayor Melton's campaign team and then transition team. So when he won the primary in the spring of 2023, all of his team, we immediately jumped into action and started to reach out to our contacts to try to help him realize his vision of a revitalized city of Gary. I reached out to my very brilliant friend and Notre Dame classmate, Holly Mizell Johnson. She's a top architect in the city of Atlanta and a principal at the architecture and interior design firm of Carriage House LLC. And most importantly for this, she's a longtime member of Notre Dame School of Architecture Advisory Board. Holly got back to me right away, and she told me that my timing could not have been better. Holly put me in touch with Professor Marianne Cusato, who's here with us today, and she spearheaded this whole partnership. But Holly told me that the School of Architecture had a 100-mile summit wherein the School of Architecture was helping to revitalize cities within a 100-mile radius of Notre Dame. So Marianne is not only a prominent architect and a leader nationwide of new urbanism, but she's noted for her work around the world helping war-torn and disaster-stricken communities. She designed what became known as the Katrina Cottages, which helped a lot of Hurricane Katrina victims move out of those formaldehyde-ridden trailers into new affordable housing back in their own neighborhoods in New Orleans and the surrounding area. She and Notre Dame's Dean of the School of Architecture, Stefanos Panizoides, they also traveled around the world helping other war-torn and disaster-stricken areas, including Ukraine. She's made several trips there in the last several years to help them rebuild. So Christopher Harris and I, our Director of Redevelopment, were invited to attend the 100-mile summit at the University of Notre Dame School of Architecture in the fall of 2023. When we walked in and saw this, which is a project by then student Miranda Kuzo, who's actually from this area. Her family is from Gary. She's a resident of Maryville now, but she's also in grad school for architecture. When we saw this project, we knew we were in the right place. I actually cried because, as Holly said, our timing was perfect with this. I knew something else was at work when we walked in and saw that project on the wall. I cried, and I felt that it was magical. I knew that none of this was because of coincidence. I knew that my alma mater, which had always emphasized the importance of community, of giving back, of family, I knew that they were going to step up and help the city of Gary realize this vision of rebuilding and revitalizing this community. Just as Notre Dame had taught us to be there at people's moment of need, I knew that the School of Architecture was going to be there for us. And I knew none of this was coincidence. My friendship with Holly, which is a lifelong friendship, she's one of my best friends in the world. Her friendship with Marianne, me being on soon-to-be Mayor Melton's team, and the people of Gary at that moment demanding better. I knew it wasn't coincidence. I knew it was all God's timing. So with that, I just want to thank everyone, and I'm so excited and glad that we've reached this milestone, and I'm going to turn this over to our mayor, Eddie Melton.
right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to thank Carla for, number one, her leadership in the administration and organization. She's doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate her just having a heart and a passion to serve the people of Gary. So thank you so much, Carla. I want to thank Councilman Miles Soliver at large for being here today. Also want to thank our redevelopment commissioners, Gleneva Dunham, I see you in the back. We need to catch up, Gleneva. I say that every time I see you, and George Rogie. Any other commissioners that I miss? All right, then Heather Ennis with the Northwest Indiana Forum. Thank you, Heather. The Northwest Indiana Forum has been a true partner, not just in Gary, Lake County, throughout the region, as they're bringing tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in economic development and growth. So thank you for being here today. Today marks a pivotal milestone. I also want to thank former Mayor of Carmel, Mayor Jim Brainerd, for being here. He served 7 terms as mayor of Carmel, Indiana. Also, what, 26 years, 28? 28 years. So to be able to draw on the wisdom of individuals that have successfully turned small communities into robust economic engines for the state of Indiana, to be here in Gary, to lend that knowledge, to lend that expertise is extremely valuable. So Mayor, thank you so much for being here. We are proud to unveil today Gary's downtown master plan, developed in collaboration with the esteemed Notre Dame School of Architecture's Housing and Community Regeneration Initiative. This institution has worked with our community, and I say that intentionally. This institution has worked with our community to design a plan that has turned out to be very visionary and groundbreaking and grounded in our local culture and history. This plan builds on our administration's long-standing commitment to build community pride, drive investment, and shape a walkable, vibrant downtown for the next generation and generations to come. Now let me add a little context on how we arrived here today. And Carla mentioned, prior to taking office, I served as state senator here in Gary, representing Senate District 3, which was Gary, Maryville, Hobart, Crown Point, Lake Station, and New Chicago. And one of the last pieces of legislation that I passed in 2023 was Senate Bill 434. And that bill does several things that we were able to see the fruits of that even to today. Number one is addressing blight. We know that blight has plagued the city for a number of years, and we have been tackling that since day one of this administration with partnerships with Reeve Riley, Hassey Construction, and so many others that's been donating and volunteering their time to help address that blight concern. With downtown specifically, we know that the state of Indiana has given the city $6 million to address blight this year. And the city of Gary, in collaboration with the council, we appropriated $3 million of additional funding. In addition to that, the Hard Rock Casino last year partnered with us, put another $3 million, so $12 million in total for blight elimination in downtown Gary. Right now, all of that work is underway. We started doing the environmental remediation. So this year, the citizens and the people of Gary will see blight coming down right here in the core of downtown. The second thing that legislation provided us was something that we're extremely excited about, which is the Lake County Convention Center. I want to thank the Lake County Commissioners for trusting and voting to approve Gary as the new site for the Lake County Convention Center. That's going to be in the footprint of the Hard Rock Casino, one of our highest revenue generating casinos in the state of Indiana. We know that this convention center will yield great economic opportunity that sits right on 8094 with 300,000 cars a day. So we're truly excited about that. And lastly, this legislation provides us with $3 million state matching funds for the next 20 years to help us build a brand new downtown metro station. And that's something that's going to be truly transformational, that's going to be a catalyst for the growth and the development that we're talking about here today. So again, all of this momentum that started 2 years ago is continuing to move today, and we have to thank the legislature and so many of the stakeholders. That bill will unlock economic potential throughout the city, starting right here in our own downtown. So here's a little bit of information I want to share, which is more of a, I would say, a call to action. To the community, I want to encourage you to look at this plan that we're getting ready to unveil today and share it with your family and your friends. This plan is for us as a community. It belongs to all of us, every single one of us in the city. This plan is going to help residents, entrepreneurs, churches, faith leaders, cultural leaders, and developers. And it gives us a shared roadmap to move forward together as a community. We're asking every stakeholder to find ways to plug in, whether through investment, through programming, or preservation. And we know that as we talk about development, as we talk about growth in a city, we want to talk about how do we preserve the integrity of our history as we build the future moving forward. And I'd like to thank Stefanos Palizoidis, Francis, and Kathleen Rooney Francis, and Kathleen Rooney, Dean of the School of Architecture, Marianne Casado, Director of Notre Dame's Housing and Community Regeneration Initiative of Notre Dame School of Architecture. The entire team, when I tell you they came in with a full team of students and faculty and staff that stayed several days in the city of Gary, it truly meant a lot to not just myself, our administration, but to the community members, the hundreds of people that participated in the charrettes that she'll talk about, that spent days vetting, discussing, sharing their thoughts, sharing their vision and dreams. And so we're just extremely grateful. So with that being said, if you can give me a warm Gary welcome for Mary Ann from Notre Dame's School of Architecture.
Thank you, Mayor Melton. Thank you, everyone who's here today to see the plans. Special thanks to Carla Morgan and Chris Harris, Erica Blackwell for always being, well, first of all, inviting us here. Thank you for letting us have a small moment in this amazing history of Gary and part of a seed leading to the future. The work that we're presenting, that we're releasing today, is the final report from the charrette. The final report is the wrong term for it. It's really the beginning. It's the first step, but it builds on a process that we've been working since that first phone call when Carla reached out and said, "Hey, we're coming into office. What should we do about our city?" This process is based on community engagement. So I'm really glad, Mr. Mayor, that you made that comment, and that is the final point there is really key. We are experts in cities. You are experts in your own city. So this process is a facilitated process that starts with first us understanding what was here, what is here, and then we can do that through looking at maps and photographs, but then meeting in person with as many people as possible through community engagement, through handouts. People actually filled out forms. We brought the forms. We weren't quite sure if anyone was going to sit down and do a worksheet. Front and back, people filled in the margins to tell us what the aspirations for this community are. We're at a very special time where there's a restored understanding for the importance of place, that downtowns matter, that downtowns are the economic engine of a community, and that walkability in that downtown and the experience of being in that place is something special and something we should strive for. Gary's had no shortage of plans. There's no shortage of visions for Gary. In fact, in our first meeting, we were sitting, it was even before you'd taken office, and there was a plan on the table, and I said, well, this plan looks good. When was this person mayor? And it's like 20 years ago, and it hadn't happened. So we fully understand that standing up here with a plan for the city of Gary is a loaded thing, but we're standing up here at a moment that's different. And that if anybody can do this, it's the team in this room. And if any moment is the moment to do it, it is now. That with this restored understanding, in a way that we couldn't have even 10, 15 years ago, had the conversation about why place matters and what is special about this place, especially why that matters. So this plan is based on that foundation. It's based on community engagement, where we asked questions like, what do you imagine if you were packing a suitcase to come to Gary in 10 or 15 years? What's in your suitcase? Because that leads to the question of what's the experience you want in that place. And then we drew. We came, we brought our team of experts, we brought students. I want to highlight that while students worked on this and we are an academic institution, this is professionally led work, that it's not a student project. I really want to drive that home, that we're not experimenting. We come as industry professionals to do this work. Students were engaged and were part of the process for experiential learning, but that was the level they were engaged. We drew, we pinned up the first night, and we said, did we understand what we heard correctly? And gave a first pass at it. And we were there for 4 hours. That was the longest first presentation, and Chris and I stood up there for 4 hours and took all of the questions, because the public, with absolute, there's no reason why the public would trust us. Why would you think that this process would be different? And so that's one of the things that we were engaged with, and we heard there were things in the drawing that didn't resonate, and people said, no, you didn't get that right. So then the next day we pinned up and we heard that and we pinned it up again and said, did we get this right? And that time we grew again. And so every time we pinned up, we had absorbed what was communicated to us. So the plan that we're presenting now is the final version of that, where we've gone and we've actually really tightened up the drawings and we've tightened up the narrative around it to be able to communicate it. But the vision that we're presenting is the vision that came out of the conversations with the city, and both in terms of the vision keepers that are in the city and the vision keepers that are out in the community. And that's a really important piece of this. So this work leads now, so we had our listening and learning, we did our designing, then we went away and worked on the report, which is what we're issuing, and now we're shifting into the next stage of it, which is the implementation. And that's the exciting part, because that's where we're artists unless we actually do something. This is just artwork. These are lines that we printed out, but very soon we will start feeling that these visions that we've dared to imagine become reality, and that's the exciting point that we're at now. The work that we're presenting is holistic in that at the very end there you have a graphic showing the master plan vision and the layers that we've looked at. So key to everything here is preservation. There's the history of your place is there's not much of the historic fabric left. So we immediately started with understanding what can be saved and what's a rational approach to it. Not everything can be saved. So how do we find the moments that really matter, hold on to those? In some areas where the building can't be saved, can we deconstruct it and make jobs out of it? And essentially, how do we heal? There's open wounds here. There's open wounds when there's a burned out building without windows. And how do the first step of any moving forward is to heal. And preservation is a core piece of that. So we had an extensive preservation team that was here. The next thing we looked at was the zoning code. It was actually, when you look at the vacant land in your city, there's a lot of it. It's actually illegal, or it was illegal. Now you guys have already moved forward on adjusting zoning. But it was illegal to build on most of the city lots because the lot was 30 feet wide, and in many cases, the minimum frontage of a lot was 40 or 50 feet. So you would have to get a variance to go in and build. So we had all of these extra barriers to building. Now, one thing that's really important is, well, Gary's unique in its history and in the amount of vacant land you have in your downtown. You're not unique in the barriers to building. And this is one of the things that we've been able to draw from our 100-mile coalition. We're able to work with other cities in the region to understand where these barriers are. So when we came in here, we were able to immediately read the zoning code and say, isolate, these are the things that are holding you back from building. And immediately, and the city has jumped on that to remove those barriers. So it is legal, so it can be legal to build on these narrow lots. So there's a lot of zoning that can happen immediately, and then also looking to a long-term, hopefully over time, there will be zoning reform for the city, the overall, not just the downtown. This is really important because to get things going again, we're reinventing a culture of city building. We have not, essentially for 100 years, built cities in this country. We currently only destroy cities, downtowns at least, and we build out in the suburbs. That has changed how we build. So to rebuild your downtown, you have to reestablish a culture of city building. And so part of that, once we've healed and once we looking at the regulatory framework, we have to reestablish all of the pieces of it. So from the design to the construction to the financing of it, all of the pieces that go into a city, you're reinventing that. You're not alone in doing this. This is where within the cities we're working in Kalamazoo and Elkhart, we're working in LaPorte, we're working in South Bend and Mishawaka to deal with these exact same issues. You have, we're part of, you have a much greater platform essentially to rebuild on, but it's the same issues as everywhere. So it's both, it's one of the things that is really important in this process is to know you're not out there fighting these things alone. After we look at preservation and healing and make it legal to build again, we start to look at where can we be catalytic in nature? Where can we make sure that the finite resources that we have go the furthest? And it's not starting with giant buildings, because the city needs to grow. You need to build not vertical and not in one big building, but you need to build two sides of a street. So it's a place that somebody wants to be. The outdoors should be what we would call the public realm. It should be an outdoor room that somebody who's deciding where to go to dinner would say, hey, I want to go to downtown. And that happens when you feel safe in a place, and that happens when there's life on the street. And to get that, you'll need to build two sides of that street so it feels like you're back. So we've identified a handful of catalytic projects of where the urban interventions can go. And if you put money and just spread it out, it'll just diffuse. So how do we build that place back? So there's a chapter on that. We're also looking at street design. You have trucks rattling through your downtown. Luckily, the day we met with INDOT, we were in a room where the windows were literally shaking. So there's conversations going on. We would really hope that we can get some truck traffic off of your main streets. So it's a place that you would feel comfortable having your kids walk down the street without grabbing them, sort of a death grip on their hand because there's a truck rattling by, or a place that you would feel comfortable sitting outside and eating a meal. So the street design, what happens in the outdoor room with vehicles becomes really important, and looking at multimodal ways of getting around, being able to walk, bike, having some other forms of transit, so we're not dependent on the car, which is isolating. We then looked at identity of buildings and standards. If you're building a place back, what is the form of the building that will give you the best outcomes, the social and economic outcomes? What will give the business the best shot at staying in business and attracting customers? What will make that street feel comfortable? So one, getting the trucks off, but two, what comes up out of the ground is important. So we have a diagram over here. We've studied historic Gary, and we've looked at that. We've looked at what was here and what was lost, and what are the patterns. But we don't just want to look back. We want to look forward. We don't repeat and look at tradition just to be nostalgic. We look at it because it's worth carrying forward, because it makes our lives better. And the buildings that have the best outcomes, socially and economically, meet the street at a human scale. And then they have what we just call simple fabric building windows. They're just the greatest places in the world that you feel most comfortable typically have buildings that just disappear because they become part of an overall composition. And so the design of those buildings becomes important when you're building all of that back. It can't just be fabric, though. So there needs to be moments. Gary has a rich history of the building we're in now, of the incredible Wendell Campbell buildings, of Thomas Edison here, building the Edison buildings. All of that is reaching forward. So we need to also have, within this fabric, have modern moments that are the terminated vistas, that are the most important buildings that you're looking at in certain areas. So you can both reach and have identity, and at the same time have these places that you want to be outside. And then we looked at another barrier is if you have these narrow lots, how do we design homes that fit on them? How do we get as many home ownership opportunities through incremental, small growth opportunities. So we looked at floor plans that would make it easier to build a neighborhood-facing building. As we've moved out into the suburbs, we put garages in front. Well, you can't have a garage on the front of a narrow lot and have it feel safe, because if a car is driving by, you don't feel safe having your kids walk down that street because somebody might pull out. So driveways and cars on the streets, you want to keep them in the street and not driving into the front of the lot. That changes how the homes live. And so we want to look at the traditional fabric, but also design homes with modern kitchens, bathrooms, and closets, because we all have things. And so the template designs look at that. They look at how to create a neighborhood-friendly building with eyes on the street, so you feel safe walking down the street because there's activity in the front of the house. And at the same time, that house fits a king-size bed in the master bedroom and has closets where you can put your things and a kitchen where you can actually cook a meal. And so we take the best of tradition, which is the form, and the best of the modern living and put them together. And that's what we've presented in these plans. All of this leads to a comprehensive proposal for how to move forward. And that leads to then the implementation, which Chris is going to talk about more. But a couple key things. It's really important to have vision keepers at every level. That point, Mr. Mayor, your point is so accurate. Of the vision starts with you guys, but then it's everybody's plan. We facilitated our title blocks on it, but this is the city's plan, and it's the city's vision. And so making sure that everybody is engaged and moving this plan forward is really the key to making sure it happens, and also minimizing displacement. The last thing we want to do is build a city for someone else. There will be new people moving here because you're an amazing draw, and as you develop, people will move here. But we also want to make sure that the identity of the place and the sense of belonging is maintained in that process. And the only way to maintain a sense of belonging is for everybody in the city to participate in what is built. And that's really at the heart of this. We've failed if we just build a city for other people. But the vision is yours, and therefore the long-term realization should also be yours. So it's really key to look at what creates identity. What do you imagine this place to be? Supporting projects that are place-based, that allow the interaction at the street level to be one where you feel safe, where you feel engaged, that's related to a human figure. We didn't get in this place overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight. And this is for any city. And so the growth will feel slow. It will feel really slow, but hopefully there's things that we can do along the way that will add incremental change where you can feel it at either in neighborhoods, building a house at a time, but building them on the same block. Don't spread it out. Focus it on a block so you got two sides of a street. Buildings, just a 3-story building downtown with a place to get coffee and lunch. You will feel that. And then build a building across the street from it. 2 buildings across the street from each other, framing a street with a place to have coffee. That will be life-changing in downtown Gary, and it will send a message that Gary is back in business, that downtown Gary is back in business. And so there's a lot that you can do along the way. I encourage you in as many ways as possible to advocate for the preservation of the few remaining historic buildings. They will actually add value to the new buildings. That when you arrive here, you still want to feel that you're uniquely in Gary. And that's the goal of this plan, is to create a place where when you arrive, you absolutely know you're in Gary, you feel safe, and you feel there's opportunity to lead towards the future. So we're really excited to continue and shift into this next stage and walk alongside you as the plan unfolds. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mary Ann. That was a comprehensive, amazing overview, and there's so much more inside the plan, so we definitely encourage everyone to download it. We'll have it up on our website on the front page very shortly after this press conference. So right now, I'd like to introduce Jackie Shropshire to speak with you. Thank you.
morning. My name's Jackie Shropshire. I'm a proud son of Gary, Indiana. Almost 60 years of my family being here within this wonderful community that's raised me, and it's quite an honor to share my developmental expertise about my hometown. And Gary raised me, and now it's time for me to sit back and enjoy the wonderful plans that we're seeing here. My experience in commercial real estate and JL has taught me about projects that work and projects that fail. As you just heard eloquently from Mayor Meldon, as well as Mary Ann just a moment ago, the fundamentals are here for this project to succeed, and it has been here based off of the robust information that Mary Ann just shared with you. Myself, coming from the commercial real estate background, want to just give you a little bit about research and data points that confirm this project and what it looks like, starting with market fundamentals and timing. Some big picture market factors have aligned. Post-pandemic demand for walkable, transit-connected communities. The Chicago housing pressure, creating 40 to 60% cost savings for the city of Gary. Proven development models that work in secondary markets of our size. And then obviously the community leadership that Mayor Meldon's vision combined with Notre Dame's design excellence gives us the partnerships that Gary needs. From my company's perspective, JLL data supports how mixed-use projects grow in occupancy nationally and across the region. Steady performance. While traditional commercial real estate lost 280 million square feet over the pandemic, mixed-use properties gained 23.2 million square feet, proving their stability in crisis. So there's been constant growth since 2022 in this segment. Mixed-use absorption has accelerated significantly over the past 2 years, with some quarters hitting 4 to 5 million square feet of positive demand. Then there's built-in risk protection. Mixed-use developments spread across multiple product types. So if office is struggling, then you have retail and you have residential that can compensate for those types of falls. It brings a diverse front to how you're looking at real estate. And then Mary Ann spoke about this, but the meeting changed consumer demands. Post-pandemic preferences for favorable walking, vibrant environments, mixed-use properties deliver exactly what today's tenants and residents are looking for. Convenience and communication in one location, starting here in downtown. Downtown master plan fundamentals that inspire confidence. This is a market-tested approach based on successful comparable projects that feature high density, mixed-use buildings, pedestrian-friendly design, reduced parking requirements, integration of housing, retail and office space, and direct access to rail, bus, or other public transit. All of these attributes represent what Gary, Indiana is trying to do. Another thing is the community centering, local hiring, small business opportunities, workforce housing. If successful, this development will spur future economic activity and attract domestic and international investment. Gary has an opportunity to revitalize the downtown, benefiting those communities who remain and to attract new communities that will help continue to evolve the next great American revival story, comparable to Detroit or many other Midwest cities that we're seeing across this area. Sustainable growth. Phased development prevents market oversupply. Mary Ann did a wonderful job of talking about that. This project is not just developing buildings, it's developing Gary's economic foundation. And it starts with the community and it starts with leadership. And for my whole life, Gary, Indiana has been a place that I've always viewed as having regional integration. Strengthens Gary's role as a Northwest Indiana economic hub. Markets with direct rail access to major metros see higher absorption rates. Gary's South Shore Line connection on this city's competitive advantage is something that I know companies desire when they're considering investment and relocation within a community. Lastly, the personal commitment, and this is personal. When I've had the opportunity to meet Gary officials, including Mayor Meldon, even starting with Mayor Meldon's first 100 days, this vision has never wavered in regards to this. Lastly, there is an opportunity with mixed-use growth for the region to attract industrial activity as well, as that being my expertise in leading the industrial group in Chicago. JLL data indicates a significant increase in demand for manufacturing facilities, with a 20% year-over-year rise accounting for 15% of overall industrial requirements. Gary, with its history and available land, it's uniquely positioned to capitalize on this surge, especially given its proximity to Chicago. I feel positive about Gary being able to benefit from this demand given these plans presented today. In closing, it's not too far in the future I want to walk down Broadway, a dream that I've had for 44 years, to see young professionals heading to South Shore Station for their Chicago commute, families grabbing dinner at new restaurants, and longtime Gary residents proud of their revitalized downtown that's attracting business investment from across the world. I appreciate everyone's collaboration with this master plan in motion and the vision and thoughtful fundamentals for bringing this to the table. It has been an absolute honor to be here on behalf of the city of Gary and as my company, Jones Lang LaSalle, as an advisor on this monumental project. Thank you.
Please welcome Christopher Harris, Director of Redevelopment for the City of Gary.
Good morning. Good morning. So today is a special day. I definitely want to thank Mary Ann, Notre Dame School of Architecture, Jackie Sharpshire with Jones Lang LaSalle for being here to be able to express how important and impactful this rollout of this master plan is. First off, it's definitely an honor to serve with Mayor Melton, being able to help deliver on this opportunity supported by our redevelopment commissioners. So I just want to make sure that there are a couple points that are extremely clear to the public, to the media about downtown Gary. We are 7 minutes away from the Gary Chicago International Airport, a transportation hub that has access immediately west of downtown Gary. Downtown Gary sits within an opportunity zone and a transit development district sponsored and developed by the Regional Development Authority, and a tax increment financing area. All of these tools offer incredible potential for investors and developers and visionaries ready to grow with us. Also, we're approximately 35 minutes away from downtown Chicago. With a connected, revamped South Shoreline, we are poised to become a walkable and accessible and livable urban center in Northwest Indiana. And last, let's not forget that we are the gateway to the Indiana Dunes National Park, one of the most biologically diverse parks in the country. It's not only ecological treasure that welcomes tourism and wellness, but also helps support quality of life. Also understand that we are a tax-friendly climate here within the state of Indiana with a deep industrial history, be able to grow jobs, help support our community, our downtown with local artists, entrepreneurs, and innovators. We have that all here in our downtown. So this plan gives us the blueprint. Now it's time for us to execute. So to the developers that are here, the infrastructure is here in our downtown now. The vision is clear, and we're going to offer that following this press conference so you understand exactly what we want and where we want it and how you can play a part in our downtown's future. To our community partners, we need your advocacy, your energy, your ideas to ensure this plan stays grounded. And then to our residents, your lived experience helps shape this plan. So we want to make sure that you understand that this is yours and this plan looks familiar to you because this is our downtown, this is our heartbeat. And then last, to the state of Indiana and to our regional stakeholders, we continue to ask for your partnership and resourcing. Gary's continued success is Northwest Indiana's success. It's our region's gateway and it's our opportunity to attract and retain talent for our region. So there are two catalytic sites that we're in preparation for offering for development. That includes the block south of the Hudson Campbell Fitness Center, which is 455 Massachusetts Street, combined with 129 East Fifth Avenue. 120 through 138 East Fifth Avenue. It's a 0.6 acre parcel that would help us connect our U.S. Steelyard Railcats baseball stadium to our civic core and to Gary City Hall. And then ultimately, the opportunity to have a discussion about the 500 block of Broadway, which is the Genesis Convention Center site, to which an RFI will be issued for development opportunities for catalytic adaptive reuse or future development. We ask that you follow our website for future details, and we're very excited to be able to share this plan with you. And this concludes our presentation. And if there are any additional questions, I'll have that fielded by, oh, I'm sorry. Yep, okay. And then in there. Yep. Okay, all right.
That formally concludes everything. Again, Chris, thank you so much. Chris has done a phenomenal job in terms of trying to help shepherd and lead these major projects. A couple of things as we prepare to close, I want to just highlight. When we came in, we focused on stabilizing our population. A recent report that Indiana University provided us showed that in the first time in 50 years, Gary's population is starting to grow. So that's sending us a signal and the message that the opportunities exist. We're doing significant investment in our infrastructure. Many of you know our lighting program, which we use some of our American Rescue Plan dollars, where 4th, 5th, Grant Street, Ridge Road, Broadway, all of the lights will be being redone as we speak right now with energy efficient LED lighting. Then after that, moving into the neighborhoods, significant amount of investment of paving our streets that we've leveraged our state and federal dollars to make sure we make significant impact. The reason why I share this is that I want to be very clear to residents, our focus is not solely downtown. We're very intentional to make sure that every neighborhood feels the growth and the potential that we're trying to focus on. So you're going to see more work being done in neighborhoods so you can understand the work that we're trying to bring directly to the front steps. Projects like Indiana Sugars, we want to thank them for their investment, a 100-year company that was looking to leave Gary. When we first came into office, they decided to stay. Not only that, but grow, building their new corporate headquarters in and near Buffington Harbor, also expanding their manufacturing of sugar as well across the world. FedEx, we mentioned FedEx and their potential and a new 300,000 square foot facility that's going to be in and around Buffington Harbor. We talked about the convention center, the Tolleson Opportunity Hub that's going to be coming, a nearly $40 million development that's going to be based in the Tolleson neighborhood. Over 13 new restaurants opened within the last year in Gary, right along Lake Street. Even more that's coming into City Hall now, opening up along Broadway that we're planning and working with those investors. So again, a lot is taking place and taking shape. I want to thank our Chicago media outlet for coming and listening and sharing the positive things that's taking place in the city of Gary that we want to tout. 5 miles of beachfront. No other city can say that in the state of Indiana. We sit on the southernmost tip of Lake Michigan. We serve where we have 20% of the world's largest fresh body of water right here in this city. So we have, and we are blessed to have that as an amenity. So with that, I'll stop there and take any questions, and we'll ask any of the speakers to come up as well. So, yep.
I was just thinking about, you were talking about getting the truck traffic off of the main roads, which is great, except now we've got this toll road nonsense. How are you gonna be able to configure both of those?
You would ask me that way. I'm joking with you. So look, I think that's in the preliminary stages. Okay. We know that legislation was passed that allowed the state of Indiana to approach the federal government to request that. So we'll wait and see what that looks like. We don't know where a toll will be. We know we've seen previous studies. So we'll work with the governor's office when that comes into play. But when it comes down to 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, not many downtowns in the country has highways going through them. Like Mary Ann mentioned, I think is extremely important that we get that off and redirected. NDOT has been extremely helpful in that conversation as we redesign or come up with designs on what that looks like. Yeah. Yes.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
When is this plan, can you say, is officially launching, or is it already underway? And what's your timeline look like? I know you said it's gonna be slow growth and a
Yeah.
long process, but what's the timeline like for what you wanna see Gary turn into?
Well, I think we've already started that process. I think this plan just kind of formalizes it. The work that Mary Ann and her team has been able to do to articulate not just to our residents, but to the world, what our vision is for our downtown. We want to be the one leading that conversation, not just waiting on folks coming to tell us what it should be or what it should look like. The blight elimination is already underway, so that has started already in terms of the remediation of a lot of the structures. The funding is already locked in and committed to. We have a lot of the developers that's interested in certain sites that we'll be working with the Redevelopment Commission to figure out how do we deploy that. Even when it comes down to the national park designation within the last couple of years. You know, like Chris mentioned, not many downtowns can say you have a national park that goes through that. So we are extremely excited and happy about that. So I would say that we're already started. It took us 50 years to see the divestment in the city of Gary, but I think now residents can point to specific projects that we're going to start formulating. Yeah.
Mr. Harris mentioned seeking for uses for the Genesis Center. I know when we were here last time, there was a discussion of what's going to be done here at the City Methodist. Is there more you can share about reuse or otherwise plans for those high-profile disused properties that are in the report or that are in the works otherwise?
Yeah, so we know that sites like the Genesis Convention Center, and I shared this at my State of the City, we were very intentional on waiting to hear the announcement from the commissioners about will Gary receive the new investment. Here's a lot of questions that people bring up. Why the new convention center being where it is? Well, we had to leverage our highest and best use of land, which is adjacent to the Hard Rock Casino, 300,000 cars a day on 8094, so that is the best geographic location. But we still have a facility that's been downtown historically that we want to honor, and we want to figure out what's the best direction with that. And that's why we'll be reissuing an RFI to figure out how do we partner with someone to figure out what's the next phase for that site. Will it be refurbishing? Will it be actually a new vision for that location? We want to see what the opportunities and options are and who has the resources that can match that with us. Any other questions for our Notre Dame team here? Well, this was fun. Again, no, Mary Ann, I can't thank you enough. It's been a couple years. You've been sticking with us side by side. Mayor, thank you for being here as well. And all of our partners and friends, thank you. Gary is moving forward, and it's because of people like you in this room, folks that may be watching online, even that small developer. I gotta share this. Well, somebody just sent me a picture this weekend of a brand new construction in Edna, the Edna neighborhood. Someone that has taken that vacant lot and building a brand new home in a neighborhood that we are being very intentional investing into. That's the type of incremental growth that I think we talk about. You know, the city can do so much, but what can we do to create an environment where individuals want to invest and want to spend their resources? So again, public safety, our chief of police is here. You know, violent crimes are down significantly in the city of Gary. You know, we thank God for that, but we also thank our men and women that protect this city as well. So thank you all for coming out. That's it.